I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Here, we're already back. Okay, audience introduction. Heidi.
I'm Megan Malone, the world language teacher at high school, also the president of the Innovation Center.
Charlie.
This one for the yes. Justin, what's up?
And Keelan, principal at the school.
Welcome, everyone. Thank you. We do not have any adjustments to the agenda. All right, I have pen that worked. All right.
One adjustment,
Huh?
just one adjustment.
What?
Oh, in the yellow thing.
No, it's just for me to remember.
Because there's a notice, and then there's a story for the rest of the story. Okay, consideration of the minutes of the June 24th, 2025 RSU56 board meeting. Could I have a motion, please?
So.
And second. Liz first, Tina second.
Thank you.
Comments, questions, revisions? I know, what?
It wasn't, I had a lunch if I was there.
Remember if you were there. Oh, you were there. No, you were absent.
She wasn't there.
I'm not voting.
Cause we had the.
Oh, I was absent too, but I did read the minutes.
Okay. Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed, non-voting? One non-voting? Okay. Public comment. This is the time for the public to make a comment. Hold back. Okay, moving on. Communication.
So it has been a pretty quiet summer with no official new communications. However, I did forward you all an email that was received today. Was asked to read it in public comment in the original body of the email, but we don't typically read letters in public comment, but I wanted the board to all see it. It did come from Brandy Bordeaux, concerns around voting at Derigo High School, sports communications, assessments, and yonder couches, but you do all have it forwarded to your email.
Alrighty, any other communications? Old business? Bruce?
Well, we met the first of the month, every first Wednesday we meet. We went over it was kind of a light agenda. We nominated the chairperson again, which is Dawn Clanton. I'm again the vice chair for the Region 9. I'm also on the finance committee for Region 9 as well. Give me a second to read things because I had it all pretty well, but I didn't realize we weren't meeting the first. The biggest thing I'll say is that we are having the most students we've ever seen there. Right now, we had over 300 applications. Right now, we've got 279 that are going to be going this year. Out of the numbers, there's 3 from Buckfield, there's 85 from Derigo, 124 from Mountain Valley, 64 from Telstar, and then home schools and others, as they call it, are 3. All of our programs have phenomenal numbers. Automotive, there was at this, and again, these are all tentative numbers, and it could fluctuate with school starting tomorrow. It could be up, down, but it's not like RSU56 where you have here's what your numbers start. You still can fluctuate a little bit, but this can change somewhat. But on automotive, they've got 29, building trades is 34. A CNA is 17, and there's 2 more pending. Computer tech is at 15, culinary arts is 56, ECE is 14, fire science is 12, heavy equipment is 12, CT intro is 16, metal trades 27, outdoor skills 27, small engines 18. We were at the controversy at the beginning with the finance of whether we'd be taking any programs, and sometimes we'll take a program and we'll put it on the side for a year. We couldn't move a single thing. We have students that some of these courses that they're taking ended up being their second choice because they couldn't get into their first choice that they wanted. So it's a good feeling, but it's a scary feeling because we really have never seen this amount of numbers that's going on at the school. So yes, we have the room. Yes, we're prepared for it. It's going to be kind of an exciting year for Region 9. So it's showing us that it is really taking off. All the schools have accepted it so well and promoting it so well. And I still have the gut feeling that it's keeping a lot of kids in school. The grant that we have that we got for the bond update is they've been working on, it allows us to buy a lot of equipment, a lot of supplies. That has been going well, but as we know, and Mary's probably well aware of what it involves in doing grants, they want specificity. If you had things that you're gonna get and all of a sudden it's on sale, you can only get the two that you're gonna get, even though you could buy three because they were on sale. You had down for two, that's all you can get. So then you have to shift and move what you can, and it's an eye opener we're finding out, but it's exciting, but it's allowing this program to get a lot of supplies, a lot of equipment that we wouldn't be able to get if we were doing it on our own, or we wouldn't be wanting to ask you sending schools. We're going through, they had some, there's a review going on as everyone's school goes through. The outdoor skills property that we had up on the Concord Pond. We had a storage building built, and we have a side-by-side as part of the thing. Someone decided to hotwire it and steal it on us. We found it a few days later. It was damaged up pretty good. It's still runnable, it still works, but a lot of people said, well, you know, how did you know it would, how did anyone not be able to spot it? Someone actually took the time to take every decal, every emblem that said anything to do with Region 9, the back window on the side-by-side had a big plexiglass that said Region 9. There were stickers all over it with Region 9. They peeled every sticker off, took every piece of glass out, and then took it for a joyride and just kind of stove it up somewhat, but it's insured and it's gonna be repaired, but we've had people looking out at game cameras and
It's gonna say,
trying
put
to
a
get an
camera.
idea of who it is, so
Yeah.
I guess they have several leads, so they'll find out next month of what we've got going on, but that was the only sad news for Region 9. Everyone's still wondering what's going on with our buildings. They're actually ready to go, except we can't occupy them. We're still in debate with fire department to find out what we need to do to occupy them. The Mexico fire chief still says that he will not sign off for occupancy. He's the same person who signed off for us to build it, but he won't sign up for us to occupy it. So the last thing that we had, and he hasn't confirmed it yet, but he may decide to give us an occupancy for the greenhouse, which is the building, if you're looking on the road to the left, the small one up front. He says he doesn't find that would be as much of a fire hazard as the welding lab that we have had built. Standing as a, multi-hats of looking at it from resident, taxpayer, and Region 9 board member, very frustrated. We don't understand how we got to this far and not able to occupy the building. So it's, again, when I find out and get an answer to that too, we'll be happy to report it, but we're still moving forward with what we can do. We still have our welding program because we still have the existing site that we used before. So we'll still hold our program, but it's kind of sad to think that you've got a brand new building. The one thing that's nice is that the state is well aware of what's going on. So it isn't like we're hiding anything. It isn't like, and the people now are well aware of what's going on. So it isn't like we're not being transparent about it. As soon as we can occupy it, we will.
Was it on the news with Telstar? Or was it an article? I read it somewhere.
I read it, yeah.
Yes, and the comment, the fire person, the one that signed it, said, well, this isn't just Region 9. Well, yeah, it is. He says, that's other benefits. Most like, well, Region 9 can't solve your other issues. So it was confusing, but it was like something new, and I'm going, well, this isn't new. We knew this.
So, question about, Is there some legal standpoint we can stand on against that person for signing off to begin with?
We're investigating everything.
Okay, because
Wish I
I
had an
mean,
answer for you to tell you what we're going to do. Right now I don't. I've been involved from when we started this project, and right through the whole thing.
I'm just
And
thinking
we
he signed
were
off.
so excited to see how this program went, ready to get into this building and to have the building built
Oh,
and
yes.
be 95% done, and then all of a sudden told that we aren't going to occupy it. Is a little frustrated.
I feel like it's like liability on him to have signed off to begin with, if he wasn't going to do it.
But I have, not in my possession, but I have full copies of our building permits. From not only the local fire, but also the state fire, and both of them, the state will not oversee the overrule local. And local is holding the cards right now, so we're hoping that we can find out some way to go around it. I've attacked it from every possible angle, our directors attacked it from every possible angle. We had the engineers, we've had meetings with Zoom meetings with all the different people trying to get involved, and we haven't come up with an answer yet, other than they're coming up with. You know, one of the articles was to have us put in holding tanks in the ground. You know, I've been talking anywhere between $150,000 to $250,000. Who's gonna pay for that? So it doesn't make any sense, because this building was being built, it had all the numbers that what was flow for water, and I could elaborate on and on, but until we get an answer for it, that's where we stand, so. Beautiful building, it's all finished inside, we're not gonna equip it until we can use it, so that's where we're at.
Hopefully you get to use the greenhouse.
Well, we'll go with that when we get to that one too. We got one of our reports was done from our adult ed director, Dr. Murphy. He went over about, we're in the process of making a satellite station for adult education. It will be on Commerce Street in Rumford. One of the hurdles that we find with adult education a lot of times is people just can't get there. Dr. Murphy was saying how he's actually had a couple kids who in the middle of winter were riding their bikes to get to Region 9. Now with this satellite station that we're looking at opening up, it's associated with the Hope Association. It was all the renovations were all done from a grant that he secured. So again, no money that we're looking at for any taxpayers, and nothing that's being added on to anything. And we're hoping that this will give us a satellite station, you know, for certain hours and so forth. And then we did make sure, one of my questions is that this building is going to be secure, it's going to have security cameras. So it is going to be a safe site that we're going to be able to utilize. That's basically the majority of what we've had to do.
Thank you. All righty, new business, Justin, you're on the board. Come on up.
Right. He has a rather simple, I guess, slide to go with it. It's really just gonna be me talking, but good or bad. Just right. Just want to check. Yeah, thank you. Awesome. Well, can I first start off by saying I was the deputy investigating the Region 9 theft of the side bus.
Okay.
Spent a few hours out, a number of hours out looking for those. I'm really glad it was found. For the record, if we get any suspects that come my way, I'll be doing everything I can to make sure that Region 9's wishes are met. So I'm here to self-volunteer to say, hey, I'm here to answer one of the toughest questions I get all the time. And that is always in good, good well meaning. I had this morning from an ed tech at the elementary school. Hey, what is it you do? I don't like the question at all, because typically what I do is very hard to explain. So sometimes I just kind of I hang out with kids all day and it's awesome. I just kind of write it off, which is true. Hang out with kids and it's awesome. But I'm going to try really, really hard to answer that question to the board today. And I thought it'd be a great kind of thing to share in 10, maybe 15-minute block of time before I start my second year here. I'm gonna be talking a lot about, what I did last year with, new ideas and procedures to incorporate my role, into the district even. So last thing I'll share before I get going is I love public speaking. I really do. The only downside is my crutches movement. This kind of prevents my crutch. So, if I'm doing a lot of to the right, to the left, it's because I don't have my crutch and I can't really move around. I want to stay in the focus of the camera and everyone's eyesight. Originally, this had, 13 or 14 slides. Each one I wrote would go into detail of different things that I did. I didn't want the work to go totally unnoticed, but I did realize like, wow, that's not gonna work 10 minutes to try to talk to people about what I do. So I thought this is a lot easier, and I am gonna have to.
Camera will trace you. See.
Oh, does it?
Did Tracy?
Yeah.
How fast is it? I'll stay right here in the middle bit. I feel so much better having them away from. Rule number one, when you're making a presentation, color, try to test it out. I didn't get a chance to up top. That actually says truancy. So we're gonna start with truancy. Meet kids where they're at. I can't stress that enough. That's gonna be the theme of all of this, not just kids, but people. And it requires trust. But trust in many different ways than you may imagine. Trust, that the community trusts me, to help keep their kids safe. Trust that you trust me that the kids trust me. Yeah. But it's so much deeper in that, because how do you build that trust? And those are the moments, I'm out there, throwing the pom-poms, cheering with the cheerleaders. Those are the moments I'm in the music room, karaokeing it up with the kids, or in the hallways, or the games, or those fun interactions that you see me in the public, area. That's kind of like the hey, this is me, people. This is what I'm about. It's consistent, positive behavior with high standards that I hold myself to, and I hold the students to, dear to the students. So that's kind of how I build that trust, that initial opening of the door. Kids see me doing that sort of stuff. They see me engaging the community, the adults. And slowly but surely, don't call me Shirley, the office, Michael Scott. Okay. Jokes get worse, the more nervous I get. But the more kids see me and the more that trust is built, the easier it is I get to, branch out into these other facets, these other topics. And believe me, when I tell you, I picked 6 really for the PowerPoint. I wanted it on one slide. I could have done so many different topics because, my goodness, meet kids where they're at. Kid is different. Look at it. Well, pretty bland. Like, let's just talk about humans for a second. Well, pretty bland. But our dynamic and wonderfulness of what it is that make us unique is our brain, and each kid is different. So going back to truancy and these other topics, trust is at the foundation of everything that I do. So truancy, I had 236. I can't think of any way to call them other than incidents, moments, interactions, things that I actively did that were strictly focused, centered around truancy. That could be anything from home visits. It didn't take long before I start getting those phone calls. And you can bet anyone listening, I always tell parents, like, hey, sometimes I just come to the house, talk to the kid, come on, man, I'll give you a ride. Maybe that opens the door to a relationship in school. Maybe. Other times it might be, a call from administration, like, hey, we're really worried about this kid. We haven't seen him in a long time. This is kind of, what's going on with the family. I don't know if you can go check it out. Whereas every time I go do a home visit, I am met with open arms. I truly mean that. This community has not once slammed the door in my face. How many couches I've sat on and listened to stories of so many different, journeys that our kids have been on in 1 year. Well, more than 236 times. That's not really accurate. That's on a downside. That's a downside of a number because truancy ties into mental health. Trauma often influences truancy. Behavior influences truancy. So it's not really that accurate of a number. But I'll get to how I get my numbers in a second, I promise, the data that's behind. Truancy, could mean, hey, I go and check on a kid and he or she isn't there, and they haven't been in school for a long time, and I find them 1 o'clock in the afternoon curled up in the corner. Now it's not truancy, it's mental health. What are we gonna do? I don't have training for that. I'm on the record saying, like, there's no real, this is a people's job, a human skills job. Everyone's so different. So the first thing I do is, okay, it's not truancy. What's going on with this kid to prevent him from getting to school? And working closely with the family, now it shifts into mental health. Now it shifts into me being the best coach, guidance I can be for this person to connect them with the resources they might need. At this level, typically it's outside community resources, and I make it a point to be with that kid as long as they want me on their journey, right through to, we go to Portland, we go to, the coast, we've gone to Lewiston. These are all different examples, and it's nice because I'm able to represent Dirigo. The superintendent's always there, and the administration of the buildings, they're always a part of this, don't get me wrong. But it's nice that this position, not me, but this position is able to, take Dirigo love and support outside with the kids. And it's made a difference a lot of times. I've been in the hospital where kids are tearing up, not ready to go inside. And their family's there, I'm there trying to help them go in. I share that because it's so powerful to see them step up and do that. And that's the kind of people that we have. So where do I get these numbers? So I can pause for a second. So this is my activity. This is for the coming year. This is active. Dr. Doyen, school administrators, the sheriff, and the sheriff's second in command, Chief Urquhart, who runs the SRO program for the county, are the only ones to have access to this. I don't use names, I only use initials as another safe precaution. This is how I track everything I do. If you look at last year's, there's hundreds of little tabs on the bottom, and then as you go down, there's paragraph after paragraph of each day. I've revamped it a little bit to help me gather, these numbers to include safety concerns, and the category, how is it going to be classified? This will help me track data coming this year a little bit easier. So as you can imagine, when school ended, it took a good, 2 or 3 days of, not straight sitting down, looking through hundreds and hundreds of call logs, but to collect these numbers. So there is real data behind it, I would be anything but, myself if I wasn't truthful to a T. I can't sit here and work with young people on this stuff unless I'm modeling myself. I'm human, can make mistakes. Don't get me wrong. And part of, the work I do with social and emotional work, I'll talk about that in a minute. But mental health is in there because that's, it represents a lot. It represents anxiety. It represents depression. It represents self-harm. It represents suicidal ideations. It represents a lot of these different mental health components that impact our kids and community. Now they're connected with, I kind of kept it at the same color to see the connection. It's connected closely to social and emotional. Social and emotional, those are those interactions and moments with kids where we're working together to develop those skills that they may have missed at one point in life, usually because of what's in red. Like, regulating their emotions, like being able to demonstrate stress tolerance. So they're not always up here and ready for the straw to break the camel's back and freak out, that fight response the next time a teacher says something they don't like. The mannerisms are very similar to that I see in the community as I do see in some of our students that learn behavior. It's the reaction of trauma. So being trauma informed is really, really important in this role. So social and emotional, that includes also too, like I could truly, not me, someone in this position who I think, is built their role off trust, could honestly sit there and a revolving door would occur. Students would want to come see and work with the SRO, ask, him or her questions, get guidance on life. And let me tell you, it could be on anything. And here's how I like to approach it. For example, it could be self-harm. It could be wanting to talk about self-harm. It could be wanting to talk about a recent breakup with my boyfriend. I'm a 37-year-old guy. What do I know about, teenage relationships? Not a lot. But the focus wouldn't be on, the breakup. It wouldn't be on that particular relationship or that particular incident. Or if a student comes to me talking about someone said something they didn't like, or, this conflict they're having, right? Yeah, that's the problem they're facing now. But what can we talk about that you can take with you to learn from this forever? So for example, with the breakup example, right? Oftentimes things are said that we can't control. We want to control things as humans. It's part of our nature. The ancients, they called it amor fati, love your fate. Modern psychologists, they just snag that and now they call it radical acceptance. Accepting what is out of your control. It's radical because it's really hard to do, but when we understand that, it really makes it easier for when things that are out of our control happen to kind of deal with. So if I had a student come to me about, a problem with, a breakup or, this person said that, this person said that, and I try not to focus on that particular piece. I try to focus on, where can you grow and learn from this? And, of course, is this something that, is more than just a conversation? Do I need to, talk to the principal, get, her involved to kind of look at things? And most of the time, usually that ends up what happens. Sometimes it's just, a conversation. There's just kids that like to check in with me. They're just kind of like special kids. They like to check in every couple of days. We all have them when we work with kids. We know how that is. But those two are really tied together. And it's really a wonderful opportunity to be able to, take some of those strategies to build resiliency and mindfulness and stuff and bring that out with the kids. Behavior, that's very broad, very broad. That's anything from criminal threatening. Had instances of that. I had to, put the more traditional police hat on. What I've done always, and what I'll continue to always do, it works really, really well, is working closely with the juvenile community correction officers. When I say closely, I let them know what's going on, and they say, good luck, have fun. I mean that with love, they're a great organization, but it really gets put back on me, which is great, it's fine, I know the kid the best. So working closely with the family and the kid, we may look at charges, but we may develop a probation plan where that kid then works closely with me and the family, and we do what we can to bring consequences, but also bring a lesson learned. Not every instance allows that to happen, but oftentimes it's a great tool to when the moment's right to bring change. I think really, teach a lesson in a healthy way that doesn't instill, forever consequences when appropriate. That includes harassment. We do most of the time, in my opinion, and can go back to the data and really crunch the numbers. The vast majority of the time, it's going to be a student-on-student conflict. Then it could be, there might be bullying, and then, rarely, but I've only been here a year, threats or harassment, excuse me, where we're actually seeing, that threshold bump above what would be appropriate. And those look differently for each example. It's always involving the families. It's always a sit down with the administration. It's a team effort. Much of what I'm talking about isn't me solo project. It's involving huge teams, whether it's at Deergo Elementary with Dr. Swan, Mr. Long, certainly here with Mrs. Thompson. Teams that I feel very, very, very much a part of, not as a guest, which is really wonderful.
313. Here's what I really, really love about this position, and it's another aspect to why it's so unique, and it's another reason why I took the leap back into law enforcement for this particular district. 313, that's everything from, hey, if a kid is having a behavior problem or they're having a tough day, not always, but a lot of the times at the high school, I'm so welcome into those conversations by the administration, where I get to be a part of, the conversation with the kids who know me. We get to, tackle things as a team, and it gets me that face time with the kids. And, these are kids who are struggling. They're already kids that I'm working with, but it's just another way I get to see them and interact with them. So it's just a wonderful thing that I'm allowed to do here under Deerio's flag. So that's just a personal, administration thing. All three administrators, open arms, beyond any shadow of a doubt. Trauma. So trauma's in red, of course. 14 only represents the number of DHHS active cases that I launched myself directly relating to child abuse. 14. Albeit several of those would have been on, similar cases, just different moments. But that's a heavy number to handle. But again, at the beginning of this presentation, every family I have worked with open doors. Every family. Sometimes that means hard truth. Sometimes that means having conversations that people don't want to hear or have. But when you have the trust, it's never anything but a conversation. I really like that. And trauma, impacts just about everything that we can expect it to impact. We have, with the more traditional types of physical and sexual trauma. But really the biggest one that I've seen, not just in Deerville, but in society, is what's known as emotional neglect. Neglecting the emotional needs of a developing human being. It's often not on purpose. It's through maybe sometimes a lack of understanding towards the developing brain, which I am no expert on. Don't get me wrong, I'm not up here preaching how the developing brain works. But emotional neglect often manifests itself in negative reactions that we see in class or in society. And that's when they didn't get a chance to develop those skills that we try to teach with social and emotional. So they're very connected. So if trauma takes the skill away, social and emotional learning is society and scientists and science's way of saying, hey, how can we give it back? Online safety, this has been very, very important. I spent so much time thinking about this, but and I'll close with this one. Because I was so naive to it. Before I took this position, I was finishing grad school. Before that, I was a sixth grade teacher, 12 years old. Not me, but the students, 12 years old. And last year, this district sent me to the Academy for School Resource Training put on by the Department of Education. And they presented a video that I can't show because you have to be 18 or over to see it because it does have graphic language, which they understand. But in this video, Sandy Hook Foundation, a group of parents whose children were obviously involved in Sandy Hook, they focus on school safety, not just physical safety, but online safety. And they had a research team create a Facebook profile. They used artificial intelligence to lower the age of one of their researchers from 40 to 15. And they had that profile interact with other profiles to make it look really, really legit. Fake cousins, fake parents. And they did nothing, but they launched it, made it public. Within 2 minutes, the first message, hey, who are you? Wow. Shocking. How low does it go? They used artificial intelligence to lower the girl's age to 12, and they held their cell phone up. And I encourage you to YouTube this documentary. It's a 10-minute video. 16, 17 seconds. Ding. The first message. Hey, it's always the same. The unknown male You know, 30 years ago, I try to be as lighthearted as I can. 30 years ago, these bad people, they'll be at the playground. We spot them, we see them. Nowadays, I can send out 100,000 emails and I need one to respond. There are 250,000 sexual slaves in our country right this moment. And it's terrifying. And one final piece I'll share on that. I said I was a sixth grade teacher. She's okay with me sharing this. I'm gonna go ahead and do it because she's encouraged me while I'm teaching to share her story. I got a call last December about a harassment issue in Bethel. I recognized her name. Yes, one of my students, I'm gonna take this call and see what's going on. Well, I fell into a Homeland Security case that I've been working for about 6 months, a small little piece of it, trying to find this guy. This girl was sex trafficked. She was my student of my first year ever teaching. She encourages me to share her name, but I won't for this. But the point remains the same, that it's very, very, very active and here many, many times. And I'll tell you, even now, I've had students come to me and say, hey, this is Deputy J, what's going on? What do I do? Right? I don't know this guy. I encourage everyone who's listening to, if you don't feel comfortable coming to somebody, and sometimes the most trusted and loving people we have in our lives, we just don't feel comfortable with some things. There are people I love more than my wife, I love her more than anything, but there's some things I may not feel comfortable going to her. The point I'm making is, if you're contacted by somebody, I encourage kids to, find someone they trust. But a big part of what I did this year as well is online safety in class, teaching this sort of stuff. Things I don't have up here are the hours upon hours that I like to have spent in the classrooms, teaching different topics from the Constitution to law to resiliency. The middle schools is open arms. It's tougher in the high school because they're so busy. They got certain credits they got to me. They've got all their stuff, but it's been wonderful. Sure, I'm missing a lot. Gave myself 10 minutes. When you get up here, you lose track. I'll say that, moving forward, I'm really excited because a lot of what was learned this year, we're taking and running with this coming year. And I didn't touch on it, but with like truancy, for example, working with this position into like the letters home, having that conversation, so, hey, if you, hit a certain day, a certain, level of truancy, you might be having a conversation with, Deputy Justin. It doesn't mean, truancy charges, and it'll be worded very differently. But it's just nice that, having a procedure where the position is actually a part of like the steps. So people are, actively like aware of, what can be expected next. And between all of us, also too, sometimes it helps just me going there and saying, hey, listen, gotta get to school, and kids come to school. So it's just helpful. I could talk forever. Do I have any questions? I know I glossed over so much, and I can encourage you guys, please email me, call me. I can't stress that enough. Thank you all very much.
Hey. Item 2, motion to approve the 2025-26 Darrell Elementary School Handbook. Could I get a motion, please? So moved. And a second? Second. Comments or questions? I heard you had a revision. No,
Kathleen
Kathleen.
just sent it to me. I'll give it to you. It made me laugh.
It's a good one.
It made me laugh when Kathleen sent it. It's just when it says waste, no waste should be, it says WASTE instead of, yeah, so it just.
We thought that was funny. No,
Sounds right, sounds right.
Any comments, questions? All those in favor? Thank you. Okay, motion to approve the 2025-26 TW Kelly Darrell Middle School Handbook. Could I have a motion? And a second? Second. Comments, questions? All those in favor? Thank you. Motion to approve the 2025-26 Jericho High School Student Handbook. Could I get a motion, please?
So moved.
And a second,
Second.
comments, questions? All those in favor? Thank you. Oh, I didn't read that one. I know, you can only have to choose by battle. All right, motion to approve the 2025-26 athletic handbook. Can I get a motion, please?
So moved.
And second? Second.
I have a question on this one.
Yes, please.
Okay, so, this was brought to my attention last year and we'd already approved the handbook. But for students that are on academic probation, so I'm on eligibility requirements. We obviously, students that are ineligible aren't allowed to participate in games or meets or anything, but they're still allowed to practice. And I had a couple people that asked me, like, if they're on academic probation, why are they still allowed to practice? If they're on academic probation, should they be in a study hall? Should they be making up work? Should they be sitting on a sideline rather than still participating if they're on probation?
Well, oftentimes, I can answer that.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, cause that's, I just wanted to bring it up because I know I had people that asked.
So a lot of times, he just forgot to turn stuff in on time, so he did turn it in, but then he's caught up. So, he goes to practice. But
It's a policy too, so go ahead.
So one of the biggest reasons we would do that is if you have a student participating in athletics and you anticipate that within the 2-week academic thing, they're gonna be back on, taking 2 weeks off. It opens up for injuries when they return because they're conditioned and then they're not conditioned, but they're ready to go back and they just jump back in. So it keeps them conditioned but it also sends the message that you can't actually participate when it comes down to the competitions and it makes them want to be academically eligible. But it's really about injury and keeping them in condition so that when they are ready to come back, because we're gonna assume they are going to be ready. And for my terms.
Yeah.
All right, that was the only question I had.
Yeah, and it is policy on that, so that is, cause I remember when we didn't used to, but then besides conditioning, it makes them still be part, but there is a limit of how much they can miss after if they miss, I think, 2. They're done for the season. Yeah, so there is some guidelines on that.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? All those in favor? Thank you. All right, motion to approve the 25-26 Jericho High School Emergency Plan. Could I have a motion, please?
So moved.
And a second,
Second.
comments, questions?
I've got a question.
Yeah.
I can't remember which one it had to do, but I was kind of concerned with where one of the sites that they would be moving to. It used to be local and it seemed like it was out of the area. Why?
Yeah, it has to do with if it was, I think it's probably the one going
I didn't want to
northwest,
say
right?
so much, so.
Yeah, right,
Yeah.
I'm guessing, because when we talked to, like the fire department and stuff, there would be roads that we would be able to get to the previous one. So they wanted us to go to one in a different direction,
Okay,
and that was the closest one in that direction that could house that number of students.
okay. Not just, it seemed confusing, so I had that on the top of my mind.
Yeah,
Any other questions? Seeing none, all those in favor? Thank you. Motion to approve the 25-26 T.W. Kelly Jericho Middle School Emergency Plan. Could I get a motion, please? And second,
second.
comments or questions? Seeing none, all those in favor? Last one, motion to approve the 25-26 Jericho Elementary School Emergency Plan. Could I have a motion, please?
So moved.
And a second,
Second.
comments or questions on these? All those in favor? Okay, number 9, we had it was it, when did we meet, in June? I did ask Brad said his wife does want to do it?
Did not want to do it.
Did not, oh, I heard she
I
did.
thought she did too.
Oh,
Oh, but
where'd you hear she didn't?
I thought that's what he had said, but.
He told me that she was very willing. That's all I know. And that was all. But listen, that could have changed.
Yeah, but I heard that too.
I'm gonna give him a text. How about we go to the next one?
All right,
See if we can
moving
find
on. Okay,
out.
now this is Mary's time.
I actually had someone that I want to motion to approve for a representative for Region 9.
Okay, you have one?
Yes, Kyle Looters.
Oh, yeah,
Well, yeah.
Read the minutes, read the minutes.
yeah, it was.
Oh, it was you, I remember the
Pam
minutes,
asked
you
about it,
would,
said
or you, oh,
I would do it if, you know, I would do it if
well,
she didn't
you
wanna do
would
it.
do it.
so-
Yeah, because they both were talking at the same
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
so, Carl, we have a motion to have a second.
Isn't Pam like contacting the?
I could, but I don't need to, like, the board can make a decision, like.
Yeah.
I will second your decision.
Okay, any other nominations? No. All those in favor of Carl? Thank you, Carl.
was Kyle.
There you go, in your spare time when you're retired.
First Wednesday night of the month.
The
First
month,
Wednesday
yes.
next month.
What time?
6.
6.
Okay. Thank you, okay. Now, Mary, you're up.
Thanks. In your packet, you should have the motion for the vote to authorize issuance of a bond, school bus bond. So do you want somebody to make that motion first, Barbara, before I continue to talk?
All right, and they need to read, I'll let you do it.
I make a motion to move that the vote entitled vote to authorize issuance of a 148,535 school bus bond be approved in form presented to this meeting, and that the secretary file and tested copy of said vote with the minutes of this meeting.
Do you have a second?
I will second that.
All right, now you can go.
Okay, so also in your packet, you have a list of the bids that were received. As you can see, I sent the invitation bid out to many banks, and we actually got more than usual. We had 7 bids returned. Last year, we only had 3. And it was funny because I opened Androscoggin Bank at the bid opening first, and it was 5.08, and I heard some groans, but last year, I looked back after the bid opening, not last year, I'm sorry, the last time we did this was in 2023, because we bought some buses with COVID funds in the meantime. So the low rate that we accepted in 2023 was 5.74. So I would have actually.
We thought it was not.
Remember 1.9.
I think that was a long time.
A long time ago.
Yeah, no, it was recently.
So anyway, you have in front of
Maybe
you.
wild time.
You have in front of you all the bids that came in. And so the lawyer did up the motion because it would seem that you would want to take the Androscoggin Bank at 5.08 as being the best option.
Okay,
Any questions?
any questions for Mary?
We have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So during the budget meetings, this was budgeted as part of your budget to spend the money on the bus, but now you're,
To get permission to get it.
So,
but it was part of the money that was in all of the documents for the budget. But
So
now it's getting
explain
a
it,
little-
please.
okay, so at the budget meeting,
Yeah,
one of the warrant articles was to get permission to borrow money to buy a bus. Because the district can't borrow money without voter permission. And what the district has done traditionally ever since we were SAD 21 is to take out a 3-year note on the bus so that you pay it back over 3 years. And what that does is helps with budgeting, because that way, usually we have 3 buses in rotation that we've purchased, so that we're paying the first year's installment on bus number 1, the second year's installment on bus number 2, the third year's installment on bus 3. And we just kept going through that cycle so that one would get paid off and we'd do the next year's and it would pick up the slack. As I said, there's been a couple of years that we didn't because we had COVID funds and bought the buses outright with COVID money. So currently we have budgeted for 2 principal and interest payments for 2 buses in the budget. So it was budgeted, I had to estimate what the amount would be, because at the time when we built the budget, we weren't even sure what the cost of the bus was gonna be. We had
Right.
an estimate, but not the actual one, which the actual cost is $148,535. Does
Gotcha, okay.
that make sense?
And we're reimbursed how much? The year after or when? A little bit.
Right, the year after, based on what we paid for those principal and interest payments, and it's based on the percentage that we receive from the state.
So,
So
That's,
you would have seen it in the budget, yes, because we were asking if we could do it. And yes, we can, but it has to be in the budget so we can actually pay it once we do it.
because the first payment is due on this in November of 2025.
got it. Okay. Oh, that's a good question.
Yes, very good.
So,
Or you're
Yeah,
right, it's in two places.
yeah.
Can we do it? And obviously it's in the budget, and if the voters had said, no, we couldn't do it, then it wouldn't have to be in the budget, but
Yeah.
with that, yes, we wanna make sure we can pay it.
we go with the lowest interest rate.
That's what we said too.
And that is what your
That's what the motion,
motion
if
is.
you look down through, you do see Androscoggin Bay.
Yep,
get
I do see
5.08.
that, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, any other questions?
Makes sense.
So, all in favor? Hey, thank you. It's you.
I'm just gonna say that I sent you information concerning the Maine School Board Association proposed resolutions, as well as the delegate assembly, so you can see what our resolutions are, you can see when the assembly meets. I don't know,
I know sometimes we go over, but last year we didn't have somebody. Kathleen was able to do that. You can do it this time, cause the next one is, cause I read some of them, but I mean, as something we put on the agenda, if we do have someone who goes, they can state how our board feels about their resolutions on.
so it is on Saturday, October 18th at 9:30 in the morning. If we have somebody that decides in the next one, if somebody is willing to go, then we could put these back on, so the board can give you information on what they think for each one of them. But I put it on this time so that you could see what they would be discussing.
Is it Zoom or in person?
It is Zoom.
That's fine.
Oh, honey, you gotta be there once. It's just,
You don't go?
No, it's on Zoom.
we used to do it at the,
I'll be recovery. So I can sit in a recliner and do Zoom.
would you wanna do it?
I would absolutely do that for you.
There you go.
There, wow, already, you know, listen to
What else can I do, right?
Oh, I love it. Do we have who made a motion? Anybody?
Rachel.
I'll make
Second?
I make a motion to avoid, is representative to this.
Whoa.
Absolutely do that for you, man. That's fine.
And second?
I'll second it.
There, all in favor?
yeah.
Oh, we're so happy. So we'll evenally have to go through.
So I will put them back on next time if you want.
Yeah.
If you want to discuss each one of them.
I'm happy
What
to
you
do
did,
that.
what you
We're gonna
Rachel,
try.
or
I think it's worthwhile to at least have people like
Try to.
Read before.
through and understand what the resolutions are.
Some of them made me mad, so I stopped reading. That wasn't very nice.
And it may be a quick, okay, this resolution, do we have a strong feeling one way or the other, but just to kind of summarize board sentiment towards them.
Hey, you guys, when giving some.
I'm sorry. You'll.
it's okay.
I'll tell her.
Maybe she's going to love it.
Okay. I used to do the in-person, I never did a Zoom one, so the in-person one was fun, but not really.
I did the first year on Zoom and I'm sure that they have improved the process.
Okay.
I got a tablet, it's got some 2 hours.
Okay, all right, thank you, you made my smiling ear to ear, that's great. No, it's, but, all right, board member comments.
I have 2 questions about recent updates, the sports app, how much is that costing us? Is that something we had already built into the budget? Is this a new cost?
So it would have been budgeted in the, and the athletic budget, yes, it's not.
Okay, so it's not like an extra cost.
Yeah.
And it's confusing now. Maybe I'm old, but like, practices aren't on it, just games, right? And you register your kids. Is that
I think when everything's up and going, practices will be on it.
Okay. Cause I'm only looking at mine, but,
Uh,
and I'm sure I
That would
know,
have to be a Sarah question.
I
I believe practices are.
I
I'm
emailed
looking.
her and called her, and I feel like I probably harassed the crap out of her, cause I don't really know what I was doing.
I will get information.
I'm probably old, and that's why.
Well, no, what I did, cause I needed a schedule, I went online onto the high school, went in, saw the calendar, printed it, so I knew the games.
Okay.
But besides as the other stuff, I was,
I'll get information from Sarah.
As far as the
um,
licenses, I think licensing it was not as much as a lot of the other ones.
Probably.
It was
oh,
like-
yeah,
It's like 20, low 2,000.
maybe we need a.
Needs an app now, though. Everything.
Yeah, you would be-
The only reason I liked the app because I had it on, when they changed the schedule, I really like to know that there's not a game. And not know 10 minutes before, or I've got workers, so that's my, but the other stuff, I don't know what to do. That's what I said to her, I said, what is all this stuff? I don't know what it is.
I'll get info.
Yeah,
Yeah, just. I was just curious.
is that it?
That was my question.
Oh, Bruce?
If you look around, you'll see our buildings and our grounds and everything. Our grounds crew have done a superb job of getting everything prepared. Our buildings, again, I can't toot enough that our buildings are in such good shape for what we've got, what we've done. We should be proud of what we've got going on. I think it's gonna be a dynamic school year again for the kids. We've got everything up and going, ready to go. I commend Kenny and his staff of what they've done. Again, we talked about a short while ago about getting another bus. I gotta commend the board on staying on top of keeping our buses at the going. And we are transporting students everywhere all the time, whether it's sports, schools, after school, whatever. And we're in a rural area, so we need to keep our fleet going. And the nice thing is you'll find that when you look at the budget for repairs and so forth is down because we've kept good buses and we've kept things up to speed. So we're ready for a new school year with these buildings. Let's get going.
I think we need a rain dance though, because the.
Oh, it's bad. I know the field
Yeah.
hockey's bad.
Did
He's
you
not,
get them on that?
What's that?
Rain dance?
Rain.
Water the field.
Wait for if you wanna get out there.
they don't let it, there's not.
There's always artificial turf.
Oh, that's a whole other ball.
I know, I don't think the players like it that much anyway.
That's
part of it,
part of it.
certainly.
Any others? Kathleen?
Great opening breakfast this morning.
It was.
I was astounded by the lineup of new hires and transfers.
Oh, awesome.
Go Cougars.
It was good. And they gave a standing ovation to the
Yes,
building and ground for all their work. It
Yeah.
was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Go
I
ahead.
have another one. Please hear what I am about to say through the lens of with malice toward none, with charity for all. The topic is Title IX. There's been a hoopla across the state of Maine of school boards, and this school board has been very quiet about Title IX. Are boys and girls the same? When men and women the same? We would be denying biology and common sense if we ascribe to this thinking. I firmly believe that schools should be a place of truth, not lies. Men generally have a higher cardiovascular capacity, greater bone density, and more muscle mass. Even before puberty, with the testosterone boost, the advantages in sports are evident overall. This makes it so unfair to have males competing in female sports. For example, in 2017 alone, well over 4,300 males, including some under 18 years old, ran the 400-meter in times faster than the personal best of US Olympic gold medalists. The UN report states that female athletes are, quote, more vulnerable to sustaining serious physical injuries when female-only sports spaces are open to males, as documented in disciplines such as volleyball, basketball, and soccer. Citing cases of severe injuries ranging from knocked out teeth and broken legs to skull fractures and neurological impairment. I want to be clear, I don't endorse bullying. We can have compassion for female athletes in Maine and compassion with those who are uncomfortable in their body. It's not an either or choice, it's about fairness. I firmly adhere to the original intent of Title IX, protecting female sports in private spaces. We each took an oath on becoming school board members to uphold the laws of this state and the nation. And we don't know which laws to uphold. I'm awaiting the Supreme Court decision on that. And I invite any board members to say where they stand on this issue.
I think we discussed this a little bit last year too, because we were waiting to hear more. We did get an email in regards to this in August, this time. And June, the first one came in June, right? And then, you know, we got a letter from an attorney. My personal belief is that we need to be, aligned with the federal decision, and I agree with this legal document. But I think it would be something that we would need to bring as an agenda item to be thoroughly discussed.
Well, we've been discussing, because we have the AC policies, which covers Title IX stuff, and we had been instructed to go back to 2020, so we talked about it in June, you know, and we had not done the last change in 24, because we waited till the election was over.
Right.
And then to actually today's policy, we will look 2020, and we weren't that, there was very few changes that need to be done. And we had the discussion of, you know, like, Kathleen says, we took an oath to follow state as a board, and we're in like the middle. And we talked about, is it, you know, having the discussion, because I personally do not want a war anymore. I'm tired of fighting. I think last year we really worked hard, our committees and our board, focusing on education, which we had not been able to do for a long time, and I felt we made a lot of progress. And this is beyond what we can do. You know what I'm saying? We got the Maine, and then you got the feds, and they need to get it and solve it and get over. You know, we were threatened with no money, we got our money, but it's still like a limbo.
I think we have 3.5 more years of it's going to be solidified. That's my personal opinion. But yeah, it's in your email.
Oh, it's
Yeah,
in our.
it's in your email. Yeah, we received the first one in June, and then with the follow-up from Zachary Leppy. And then the motion to adopt the policy was provided.
From Stan Smith, yeah,
Mhm.
I heard.
Yeah, and, so with our original policy of the 2020. That was one of Trump's original adaptations at the time. So the updated one that was in the model. I feel like got morphed into what the state decided to go forward with. Which is where we're running into problems. I think it would be worth a discussion. But I think that more people should voice their opinions. My personal belief is I agree with you. But I think that. Right now, I don't think we have a problem with that in general. But it sounds like you want more of a, just like a. This is what we're doing. That's what I feel like you want, and I'm not sure they're. Ready to go with that, only because. They don't know what's going on legally. That's what I'm hearing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, like, I guess my stance on this issue right now is, I think as a board. We could take a stance one way or the other. There are some boards that have done that. I think honestly, looking and following in the news, it seems like doing that. Is almost, like, it's almost distracted from some of the conversations around education and some of the things that we want to get done. And I don't know that it really changed anything. Right, like we could decide as a board, we're gonna take a stance and draw a line in the sand on one side of the issue or the other side of the issue. We would alienate half roughly, or whatever percentage, someone would be upset at us. And at the end of the day, taking a stance one way or the other would still have us sitting here saying, okay, we're gonna wait for a Supreme Court decision that tells us what our policy can be, because we have to follow the laws of public school district. So I'm gonna separate my personal opinion from it, because I don't know that my personal opinion like should be dictated on as a policy. And I would say that we continue to follow the law. Right now, the law doesn't agree with itself, but like between your state and your federal laws are contradictory. And until that gets sorted out, no matter what any board decides, they're going to be in violation of either a state or a federal law, because there's not been a ruling to determine what the law of the land is going to be. So at this point, I think we've policies looked at it. I think we are right,
Still
in plan with something.
Right, we're still in.
And I guess I don't know. Like, is our own internal political debate on this going to benefit us as a district?
That's what we brought.
I mean, that's my concern, is that we could have a big, philosophical discussion, and I've got a daughter that plays sports here, plays for school. She also plays across the state on travel teams, AAU teams and rec teams. I've not been concerned about her physical safety participating in RSU56 sports. And I would be inclined to, at this point, kind of let the official legal channels play out. And in doing so, focus our discussions on things that we actually have control over. And try to benefit our kids and our communities and our schools.
Rachel.
Yeah.
Oh, Rachel, then, were you up first?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, Liz, I wasn't looking, right.
You know, I agree with what you read. Personally, but I agree with Natalie. And I think we've already discussed it. Yeah, it's a no-win, so we, as far as the Supreme Court's gonna make a decision. And that's what I think we need to start with, and I think Natalie said it the best, and I'm not gonna repeat it. I don't need to, but I agree with that. Yeah.
Rachel,
But so, in everything I said, this is not a problem today. But when it becomes a problem, we can revisit the situation. You know, when you get a 6 foot tall, 180 person that wants to join the women's, we're gonna have to sit down eventually and revisit the situation when it feels it's a harmful situation to the girls.
I agree.
You're gonna have to eventually.
It
sit
can't
down.
be something that can be ignored.
Right.
We
It cannot.
We can procrastinate for now, but I think eventually we're going to have to.
Because safety comes first, and that is ultimately, but right now, education comes first. The point of everything is that education is priority, and it's not a problem now, and I don't see like.
What I've seen where we may have had issues in the past, the issues were rectified and made sure not to happen.
Right. So I agree, it's a problem when it becomes a problem, but today it's, right, it's not a problem, you guys have really done so well in, keeping the students safe.
Carl or Bruce?
Such a small percentage of, in the whole state or probably the whole country, we're in compliance with federal law and state law right now. Feel it would be in our best interest not to take a stand one way or the other. In Title IX, that was so that women could even participate in sports when they first started in the seventies. I remember, so I have older siblings there that probably would have liked to play sports, but they didn't have it. So I'd say that we just sail along,
Bruce?
follow the law.
Bruce? Anything, I heard you say you agree, but then just.
Yeah, I do. It is, and it shouldn't be political.
No, and that's what.
Did we have a kid from like England on a field hockey team?
Long time ago, we had Sally Clark was coaching. And she got a foreign exchange student, he wanted to play field
And he
hockey.
did.
And they would only let him play TV, but he would hurt somebody with that.
I played against him, Barb.
Oh, did you? Long time ago, and that's just. So, any other board member comments? I think this is great to, that we have the comfort to talk. And not, keep going, cause it's, we've done pretty good with, staying together and focusing, and even with our differences of opinions, stuff. So, all right, any more board member comments? Okay, your report.
Right, so I probably don't have to tell you this, but the summer absolutely flew by. Well, I'm pleased to report that RSU56 is functionally fully staffed. We're short one bus driver custodian. Kenny continues to work on filling that position and has a good lead right now. We thought we had it filled, but as you'll hear momentarily, we hired somebody and then they resigned. So that was kind of disappointing. We also have one 6th grade ELA position open at the middle school. Jason has an ed tech filling in that position who is actually very close to finishing their teaching degree, but we'll keep the position posted. If we have somebody certified, we will continue to interview and get that filled as quickly as we can not as quickly as we can. We'll get that filled with a quality candidate when we can. Because I work really hard at telling administrators, don't jump if we don't have the right candidate, keep a position open and try to find the best candidate. Yesterday and today were workshop days. I want to just publicly thank Barbara, Liz, Bruce, and Kathleen for coming to the breakfast this morning. And I know many of the rest of you would have liked to, and I understand that we have to work and things come up, but I did on behalf of the board, let the staff know that you are all with them in spirit, and obviously you have to work and did not make it, but it was very nice breakfast, and I thought a very good, positive start to the school year. Sad I missed it.
It was
Students,
good.
they did, the nutrition staff did an outstanding job of it. Students in grades kindergarten through 6th grade as well as grade 9 will start tomorrow. K-12 starts on Thursday and pre-K will start next Tuesday. I should say this, I probably should have sent out an alert call, but it's probably too late now. It is not a late start tomorrow. It's the first day of school, it's just a regular day. It is not a late start Wednesday. They will start next week. Our building and grounds, as Bruce noted, they are in really good shape. A huge thank you to the BGT staff. I was really, really pleased this morning when the staff gave them a standing ovation, because it really is important for us to know that we're all important for the running of RSU56, and they do an outstanding job. I'm especially pleased that those storage boxes are no longer out in the back parking lot. They are
them go that day.
They are up behind the bus garage, so they're tucked in, not as visible, but they still serve the purpose, but they're not quite as eyesore as they were before. I will say that was one of two things that I told Mr. Robbins needed to be done before I returned back from Africa. They were not quite done when I got back, but it was all worked out and it was done very quickly. So he did a really good job getting them done. As Bruce noted, we do have 85 students right now from the high school that are signed up to go to Region 9. Out of our student population of about 217, that's about 40% of our kids going to Region 9. So that's really quite nice. And I am going to say this, and some people aren't going to like it, but I really, really, really would like the board to go paperless. We are asking our staff to go paperless. I pushed this all year. We ordered a bunch of paper in May, a pallet of paper in May. It is already gone. That is over 1 million pieces of paper. And we're really gonna work all year. Like, we're not telling staff they can't print things. If they need them, they need them. But anytime we can reduce our paper output will be better. If you need paper copies, please let Cindy or I know. If not, I'm going to send you everything electrically.
I was gonna say I have.
Digitally.
Yeah.
And, again,
On paper.
if you want paper, we'll get paper.
Just paper.
But I really would prefer to go paperless as much as possible.
And I did tell her, we didn't have meetings in July, so it's not our fault.
It's not, but when you think about it, and that
Yes.
was, we went through 6 pallets of paper last year, and we used to go through 4. And each pallet is about 1 million pieces of paper, like that is a lot of paper. Is that right?
The 6
Million.
pallets.
What's that?
1 million total.
1 million
Or
total, sorry.
1.2 million roughly total pieces of paper.
Yeah, so that's a lot of paper in the school year, so I just really wanna start the school year focusing on it. And I didn't print anything for policy today, we did it all up on the big screen with me, that worked out really
I
well.
print my whole.
Not telling staff they can't use paper, and I'm not telling the board that you can't have paper
I
copies.
just can't.
But sure, unless you have this given to you by the district, and I really, really would encourage you to go paperless as much as possible. Again, if you want paper, just let Cindy.
No,
know.
it's the visual, I can't read off the.
I have a lot of new hires and stuff, so why don't you go with your report and I'll get myself ready to do all these.
Okay.
Okay.
Here's my house.
Oh,
I wanted to ask, is Nicole hearing the berries? Oh, and I certainly said to them.
okay, sorry, Mary.
So of all my years of reporting out, I always sat out saying about the audit for the current fiscal year. And for the first time ever, I have to start out by talking about the audit for last fiscal year, 23-24, that's still in progress. The preliminary audit took place in May of 24, and then the rest of it, when they asked for all the other documents, happened in January of 25. But because of some issues with our accounting software conversion that we're still working through, I'm still submitting information to the auditors, so the 23-24 audit is still in progress. And now 24-25 is in progress because the auditors came on site in June to start 24-25. I don't enjoy doing 2 audits at once, and I'm hoping that they'll both be done by December of 25, and then I'll get back on track and only have 1 audit going at a time, because that's really preferable. And we'll provide the full audit reports for both years to the board as soon as they're available, and the auditor will be reporting out to the finance committee as usual. Last time I reported out, I was very excited because the COVID funding had come to an end, and as you all know, that was just a lot of work because they had to have copies of every single invoice in order to reimburse us, and it was a lot of money, so there was much work for all of that. And it was exciting because that had come to an end, but that doesn't mean that all the grant work has come to an end, because we receive other grants that require extra work in the business office.
Yeah, because I remember somebody's the fiscal agent for two.
I'm getting to that, yes. Oh, I forgot to put that one on my report, Brian.
I'm behind the
Let me
closet.
add that.
That's great.
So. Because each grant has different rules and different ways to draw it down and what they want and what you can spend it on, what you can't spend it on. So it's just extra, but we receive grants from the Northern Forest Center. That pays for our ELO, Extended Learning Opportunities teacher at the high school. And also the mentoring program at the high school. And the Northern Forest Center also paid for the outdoor summer school program that Kate O'Connor did for middle and high school students, took place a couple of weeks ago. Then we have the Bipartisan Safe Communities Act that pays for our contracted school resource officer that you heard from tonight. The last couple of years, we received the Title I reallocated grant, and that pays for part of summer school program at Darragh Elementary School. And the rest of that program is funded by the 21st Century Community Learning Centers grant. And up until July 1 of 25, Oxford County Mental Health, which became Community Concepts, was the fiscal agent for the 21st Century grant. But then a new grant had to be put in, that one ran out, we had to reapply, and so as of July 1, 2025, RSU56 became the fiscal agent for the 21st Century grant, which involves more work. And then our friend Brian over here did the Rust grant that we're just kicking off, getting the bids out for those, the RFPs, and there will be a bid opening on the 5th of September for that. And then there'll be some ordering involved and paperwork, which because RSU56 is the fiscal agent, then we have to submit the paperwork for all, how many districts? 10?
7.
So there are 7 districts involved in this Rust grant. And they do their own ordering, thankfully for Brian, but unfortunately, my part, I get to do it for all the districts. Brian has agreed that we'll never do that again. And just the last bit, I always talk about the accounting system. You know that we changed 2 years ago to AptaFund from Harris Solutions, and many main schools are making the same change. And Cindy and I are still attending the bi-weekly virtual user group meetings for AptaFund users, and it's just good to know that we're all in the same boat, trying to learn how to use this new software, trying to make AptaFund make some changes that would make it easier for everybody. Because up until about 3 years ago, they didn't have any main clients, and main accounting for the DOE is different than other states evidently. So they are trying to work things out to make things easier for us, but I hope that that's the last conversion that I ever do. As my role as business manager.
Oh, no, you can't retire.
No, I just hope that's the last conversion I
Oh,
have.
yeah, well.
It's just a lot of work trying to get through it. So that's all I have. Any questions?
And Glenn, just 21st Century grants, so we're fully funded for the after-school program and everything, we're good.
So we're fully funded. We would have the summer school program.
Yeah.
We can have the after-school program for this year, and I believe it's still up for debate for future years based
Yeah,
on
we
the
got-
big beautiful bill.
Well, thank you for everything that you do.
Yes.
Yeah, we couldn't do it without you, no, definitely not. She's good.
I literally had that moment of panic when Barbara's like, you can't retire. I'm like, you know what, Mary retires, I'm going.
I know that.
When you're in central office, all 3 of us, when one of us retires, all 3 of us are going, just so you know, like, that's the fact.
And he used to tell them. So,
All right.
thank you, Mary. You're welcome.
So new hires, I'm gonna report out, Dan Ludwig is our IT specialist at Darragh Elementary School, Melissa Littlehale, math interventionist at Tech 3 at the middle school. Did I say Dan Elementary?
Yes.
Yes.
It's good, I've been going for all day. El Couture, special ed at Tech 3 at the middle school, Josh Newell, Title I learning facilitator at DES. Nicole Berry, special education learning facilitator at DES, Kelly Cavanaugh, bus driver, hold on, you're gonna hear that name again on the resignations in a minute, bus driver custodian. Reporting of stipends and coaching positions, Alex Neely is the assistant football coach at the high school, Sam Wrigley is the JV football coach at the high school. We just wanted to report out that we do have volunteer coaches at the football, just so that you know that they're there, Rusty Daly, Trent Holman, and Kyle Mealy. We also have Alyssa Newhall coming in as our varsity field hockey coach at the high school, Kelly Skillen as our strategy club advisor at the middle school. Heidi Brimhall will be the advisor for the class of 2027. And Jim and Yami Hamalainen are gonna be co-drama.
You must be
Coordinators.
excited for that, I
Yeah.
know.
Felt like a
But
little
they-
gift from above when they agreed to do that. Lucas Johnson and Aaron Peters, they might not be listed on yours, they're new middle school soccer coaches. Because Jim and Yami had resigned from that and went to pick up this other stuff. Resignations, Tracy Chasson from the nutrition worker at the elementary school after 22 years this summer decided to retire. I will say that today there was a busload of people that did our drive-by retirement hoopla. We will invite her back at the end of the year, but nobody escapes us, even if they decide to retire.
Fire with that, to the fact.
Jim Himalayan did resign as the high school co-graduation coordinator. He wants to be able to work with the band, wants to be able to do pomp and circumstance, and it's just really hard to do all of that and do this.
Nice.
So the band wants to play pomp and circumstance.
So
We
does
have
the
the
march.
They wanna play, like, the band wants to play the march.
So he doesn't feel like he can be dealing with organizing the graduation because he gets pulled out of his class the last couple of weeks.
Oh, okay,
And he wants
okay.
to work with the band. So they can say,
That's what that was called.
I'm sorry.
music, yeah, sorry. He did have a good idea for
He has good.
graduation
Okay.
coordinator, so I will be approaching that for.
Good.
Kelly Kavanaugh, bus driver custodian, did resign, and today Tyrene Child, VES nutrition worker, came in and decided to retire. Right immediately, so she is gone.
March daughter.
And then we also have a transfer, Alyssa Belgard. She was the middle school nutrition worker for 4 hours a day. She took the DVS nutrition worker for 6.25 hours a day at the elementary school. That was a lot.
Yeah, there was.
And I will, when we get to the next one, I will work with Kaylin to secure a new student bed.
Oh, thank you. All right, policy, we met today. We talked about the A policies, which is from the, harassment, all of those. We did talk about, we are putting, we stepped past it in the spring about the cell phone policy. So the next couple weeks are gonna be interesting. And, we're gonna put it, you know, we have student code of conduct policy, which just kind of lists certain policies. So we're gonna put it under the technology, so they're aware.
I think I already know the answer to this, but there's phones in each classroom for emergencies, right?
Yes,
That's-
yes.
I assume that, but.
And so, and also Pam that mentioned, she asked, you know, people to model to the staff that, you know, not the phones. So that will be interesting. We went through the policy of adoption procedure. We also went through how we have a book, because it is all online. Some of us have a book that are on the committee, some don't. If anybody has a book they're not using, let me know. But we went through MSMA's new one and said CD or, and she, Rachel does not have internet in Carthage. So I happen to have all the policies on my computer, so I can whip a CD together and put it for her. Or I can do a thumb drive.
I was gonna say, does your computer have a CD?
She does, and I can actually put it on a thumb drive.
I couldn't do anything.
I could, I have a tower. I got too many, pictures. So what else? Oh, a new policy, freedom of access. I found, you know, we're supposed to do it once we are elected again, so I listened, did my duty. So we're gonna have a new policy with that. Finance committee, Carl?
Yep, it's hard to follow that, no,
I love you, Carl.
no, imagine waking up in the morning and having to go to work and do a school financial audit. I mean,
Oh,
I pity Mary. Hopefully we can get all that cleared up. When I signed all the warrants last time, I was amazed at how many, I'm gonna take a guess, it was like between 30 and 40 licensing fees. And I was amazed that there was so many. I hope we use them all to the fullest.
Then we can get a stamp with this.
No, I didn't mind
Oh.
signing them. I just couldn't believe I found out what a lot of them were and that, I mean, anybody should come look at it. There's a lot of them.
Yeah.
And then a fun fact is we use 142,000 sheets of paper per student. And those red policy books we used to have, there was probably 1 million pieces of paper in the books.
oh, the red, yeah.
With big ring, they were this big. I might still have them.
Well, we actually found one in the office cleaning this week, but yay big.
The one I had was that tall. 2007.
It's wild. They're all online now, so you don't need to carry one of those now.
I got mine back there. Go ahead.
So, am I
Finance.
on the finance committee?
We're gonna have an organization meeting next time,
Okay.
so you'll do your board chair, vice chair, and your committees.
Okay,
Cause it's,
I was afraid that I was gonna miss something.
yeah, no, we have it. You know,
Yeah,
it's-
okay.
Only once I did go and sign and I saw, I go, wait a minute, these are all Brian.
He slides those in real quick.
This is all in this.
All the licensing, and I go, wow, there was a lot.
They were particularly bad right at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
More Kyle on Friday or Monday,
Oh, great.
guarantee you. I got another stack building.
And I added more to it today for her, so.
The curriculum, Brad's not here, I know they'll let us know, building and grounds.
We did have a meeting.
Oh, they did, yeah, we did, you guys had it, did you go, Kathleen, to the one this
We
summer?
had a meeting this summer.
About the science.
So, yes, so we were there. Oh, no.
Yeah, you can.
We had the curriculum meeting.
Oh, that?
Yeah.
You were there.
The superintendent's office.
Oh, that was a house, yeah. Okay, so we did, and, okay, so chime in, if you remember having chiming, because you were there, Kevin was there.
I just emailed comments.
Yes, yes. So, we had a meeting this summer, I believe it was in July, the middle of July. And the key purpose of the meeting was to talk through, we have a policy on, instructional use of controversial or on controversial topics.
Yeah.
So if there is something that is being presented that there might be points on, we have a policy around how we frame that conversation so that students understand, like, here's one way to look at it and here are other ways to look at it. And so we started kind of specifically on science, but then kind of expanded the scope of discussion into social studies as well, primarily because that's Jason's area of expertise. So what we ended up coming to, and big thank you to Jason for his work on this. He did a lot of research and had a lot of great data coming into it. And then he did a lot of additional work after the fact. Was we basically came up with a list of sources for science and for social studies that would be considered fairly neutral on a topic. And some that would be considered more left-leaning or liberal on a topic, and some that would be considered more right or conservative on a topic. And basically said, okay, to our professional staff, like, if you're looking for sources to comply with said policy, here are some like vetted sources that the curriculum coordinators kind of done some legwork on.
Comfortable with.
Yeah,
Presenting.
and I, like I say, kudos to Jason, he came into that discussion really well prepared, he'd done a lot of homework, did a lot of work after the fact. We also looked at science. We had a textbook that we had started to kind of look at, specifically for earth and physical science, which was grade 9. At this point, we're not in urgent dire need of a text resource. But there is concern that our science materials are woefully out of date. And the only material like text that we have that's actually compliant with policy, which I believe is 5 years. Is it within 5 years? Or 10 years?
Over 5.
Is it 10? But we have only one science text that's actually compliant with policy, and it's for an elective that's not being offered at the moment. So there are obviously, our science teachers do a great job of maybe not teaching right to text anyway and incorporating a lot of supplemental materials. But we've seen, like with math, not that many years ago, if you have great experienced staff that then retire, it can be difficult to transition to a new staff member if you don't have text that supports your curriculum that's up to date. So we haven't made a definitive like purchase decision, but found a text that looked pretty good and Mr. Buck was supportive of. So I think Jason's gonna kind of put that maybe on the docket at some point.
Yeah, that's good.
Thank you. I like that. All right, building and grounds hasn't met since.
We met in June.
Okay.
I don't have the minutes of what we went. I know Pam had sent it out.
No.
But Kenny kind of more or less went through what the wish list that the team would be doing for the summer, and all I can say is look around, you can see a lot has gotten done. I can't, again, you listen to everything that's going on, our buildings aren't this way because of relax about what we're doing. We're keeping everything up to par, from transit buildings to the grounds. We don't have control over Mother Nature and the rain, so I can't say too much about the fields of little brown grass. But if you look around everything else with it, we're in really good shape, and we aren't there because we haven't paid attention to it, so. We locked in, again, we lock in fuel prices. It's always roll the dice and hope that you're gonna get the best price, but we locked everything in, we're looking in, and that includes our propane. As you see, we approved for another bus, keeps our transportation going well. A new bus garage was a win-win for the district. We now have our buses at the same place where the bus garage is, so we're keeping everything maintained well. And it's allowing us to stay ahead of everything. Like I said, he had a little list of what he was gonna do in each building. As far as I know, he got all his core things done. We had some different doors and so forth that were being addressed, and but there was nothing that was major. The last thing that we're looking at is eventually finding out if we can finally put enough money somewhere in some type of reserve account. The only building that we do not have any type of full AC is our middle school. That's our next wish list to look out for. Other than that, did I miss something?
Yeah,
But we're at it.
negotiations, we had none this year.
We don't have any this year, do we?
Personnel,
Pam, I think had reported on the meeting that we'd had, June.
Yeah.
So nothing new.
ad hoc, nothing new, Brad will let us know. Dropout prevention. I don't know when they're meeting, Brad is on that.
I'll get dates in here as they come in.
Yeah. Technology committee, what is that?
We will be having a meeting probably in late September.
Who was that?
You, I believe.
Is it?
I would have to double check my notes, but I think you were interested.
Well, let me know.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean, do we have to do a plan? Or no?
Officially by the state, no, but it's recommended.
Okay,
The state requirement went away, but they're still saying it.
and Brian, good luck on your our new policy with social media, which starts.
Yep.
With the groups.
Got been a tough couple of days since or a few days since I sent the email out.
We do not have an executive session. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
I second it.
All in favor? It was, Liz
And I
and
second it.
Tina.